The Home Minister, in fact, yesterday said in the Parliament that they are almost to their deadline. It's today, in fact, and the Naxal which was there, and the target was that to finish the Naxalism by March 31st. So he has declared that it is almost done. Some formalities are remain. First of all, what is your reaction? You have worked in those areas very much. What is your reaction to this?
As you know, the Naxal problem was spread in the so-called Red Corridor, right from Pashupati to Tirupati, over almost 12 states and 120 districts. So, as far as the other states are concerned, it was declining and almost had been shrinking for the last couple of years because of the various operations and other activities conducted by the central government, by the paramilitary forces, as well as by the state governments in support of the local tribal people. However, Chhattisgarh, and particularly the area known as Abushmad, as you know, Abushmad is the unknown hill or unknown, you can say, big area. So that is the place which was the so-called capital of the Naxals. Now, as far as Bastar, that is the entire region in Chhattisgarh where Abushmad is located, according to the local, the state home minister of Chhattisgarh, Vijay Sharma, 96% of the area is now completely free from the Naxal. So as per his version, there are still about 4% which are still to be covered, and that operations are continuing. As far as the central committee, which was having 21 members, out of that one person alone is yet to surrender or yet to be traced. But as per the sources, the talks are going on between that one person as well as the other side, and there is a hope that either he may surrender or he may face the police action. So that means you can say almost it is free, not 100% free, but almost free.
So, based on your ground, experience, how you see the last 4 decades and the way Naxalism was here in India, and especially on those belts, and the efforts from the security forces, from the government, has been taken to eradicate this Naxalisms.
You see, this Dandakaranya area or the Red Corridor area was one of the remotest part, and it was the absence of the government, what we consider. That means there was no administration reaching or was not able to reach there at all. Before 1980s, the situation was bad, but still at least the people had the civil rights. They used to participate in the local elections and as any other place. But after the Naxals had emerged, the entire area became, in their words, that is the words of the Naxals, liberated zones. That means they did not allow any government functionary to reach that place. And on the contrary, they established what is known as the Janta Sarkar. That is the government established by the Naxals. And they used to have their own ministers, they used to have the hostages held, they used to have extortions. In fact, even as a low person in the village, every month they were compulsorily dictated to provide the food and other items to the Naxals who would be reaching there. Okay. So today that situation has completely changed, and that fear is no more there. From 19, you can say particularly 80, though the movement started in 67, 68 from Naxal body in Bengal, it spread from 70 to 80 in all these rest of the areas, covering almost 12 crore people in these 120 districts. And it became such a serious situation that the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, in 2010 had declared that it is not the northeast insurgency or Kashmir insurgency which is the real issue. The real threat for internal security is from the LWE, that is the left-wing extremists or the Naxals.
So, what is your personal experience? While you were working there, you were in a district meeting also. If you could share some of your personal experience, the way you all the security forces, the government has worked to eradicate this sort of thing.
No, what had happened was the local tribal people, they were completely under fear psychosis, and so much so that even the young girls, as the age of 7, 8, they were forcibly taken away from these areas, and they were made into child soldiers, and they were not permitted even to meet their parents. If at all they used to come to their village, they would be given a gun and asked to shoot their own relatives or near ones, just to create a fear psychosis. And the entire area, villagers, if somebody say joins or wishes to join the police, then his relatives or parents etc. in that village, they will be killed and their dead bodies will be hanged in the front of the everyone. So that was the fear psychosis they had created among everyone. And because of the fear, the people were also desperate that because they were completely cut off. The banks were not permitted, the schools were not permitted, the roads were not permitted. So you can say the entire area was somehow held to the ransom by these people. And the policemen who used to say go to such areas, they were immediately identified and they were also either killed or these explosives were planted on the roads and their vehicles will be blown up. And as you know, there have been several incidents when almost you can say 5,000 policemen have been killed, apart from the rest of the other 15 to 16,000 civilians. So they would say that he is a police informer. So in the name of police informer, this so-called Janta government of the Marxists, they would identify a person who is opposing their ideas and kill in the front of the people and put his dead body in front of the others so that they are also terrorized.
So when we say that India is now Naxal free, if we say how was the role of specifically Maharashtra police and the local intelligence to weakening this Naxal network?
Now, as you know, the states, including Maharashtra, whether it was Maharashtra, whether it was Chhattisgarh, other places also, they had raised what is known as the some kind of a local people's police. So in Maharashtra it was called as a C60, or in Chhattisgarh it was known as the what was called as the Salwa Judum. Mr. Karma, who was the then minister in Chhattisgarh. Now, as far as Chhattisgarh was concerned, this Salwa Judum was the members of the Salwa Judum. It is known as the Shanti movement of the local people. They were provided guns also by the state government. But that move was opposed by the supporters of Naxals, and they had challenged it in the Supreme Court. And Mr. Sudarshan Reddy, who was the then justice in the Supreme Court, he had criticized the state government and said that this should be disbanded immediately, and he came down very heavily against them. In Maharashtra, it was the C60. This was a force created of the local people. They were provided the weapons, they were provided the necessary training, and they used to follow the same guerrilla tactics of the Naxals. They used to mix up with them, and they will not say even in a bus, if they are traveling, they would travel in one or twos and find out what is happening, or be able to get the proper say intelligence of what is happening in the village, who is coming, who is going, who is threatening, or whatever the activities of the Naxals. So, but that was a more or less you can say human-based intelligence. The turning point came when the technology was deployed, and technology in the sense the basically towers were set up in many of these areas, and through these towers the mobile network started functioning, and as you know, the Chhattisgarh government had even provided mobiles to local people. So the Naxals also became addicted to the mobiles. And then the rest of the things like the high-tech satellite communication or surveillance by drones and various other advanced technologies, they were also used. And the grip was developed in all those areas because this is an area which is having a very high green foliage, and it is very difficult to pierce it also. Either there will be no roads at all, or it will be hilly area, various other things. So it was impossible to penetrate the jungles. That was a difficulty there. But with this technology as well as human intelligence, both combination, and the local support of the particularly tribals, they were also fed up with these kind of terrorizing tactics. So that helped a lot in overcoming the situation.
So what should be the next focus government should have so that this situation will not arise again?
And it's a very important question. As you know, on 25th to 28th of December 2025, recently, a meeting was held of all the chief secretaries of these concerned states, and the Prime Minister himself had chaired this meeting. And a 10-point program was prepared to ensure that there is no resurgence or no going back to the situation which was earlier. And this particularly consisted of, there are say 137 central government welfare schemes which have been laid out. So the Prime Minister has given a directive that there should be complete saturation. Every person who is eligible of being a beneficiary of these 137 schemes. The schemes include various things like schools, banks, roads, then providing the Aadhaar card, providing ration, providing various things, houses, skills for their self-employment or for any other employment. All these schemes, they have been now being enforced, being implemented in all these areas, and clear directives have been given to all the chief secretaries as well as the other functionaries to make sure that there is no resurgence at all of any of these situations which were functioning, which were prevailing earlier. So that is the situation, and now the administration also has learnt a lesson, and I am sure in the coming days the situation will not go back to what it was earlier.
So there's a term also urban Naxalism. What is your view on that, and do we have something to do with that also now?
Urban Naxals is basically an ecosystem which was supporting the Naxal activity. In fact, as you know, in 2007, the CPML, that is the Communist Party Marxist Leninists, they had come out with a document called the Strategy and Tactics of Revolution. And they had said that in order to support their movement of winning over or taking the government through ballot, not through ballot but through bullet, as mentioned by Mao. And to support that particular scheme, they had said that we need to have the doctors, advocates, media persons. We need to have the particular focus on the labor, on the youngsters, on the women or other sections in the society, so that they will get good advocacy. They will be able to argue their cases in the judicial forum. They will be able to get funds. They will be able to get medical support. They will be able to get the other recruited agent and recruited persons. So to support all that, they had devised this scheme called Urban Naxals. Now the Naxals themselves are not there. So the ecosystem may continue for some time. They will continue to advocate how the leftist movement is really going to help to get them justice, etc. It was not for justice. It was basically to ensure that the power-hungry people will be able to grab the power through bullet, as was done by Mao. So that was the scheme. So the ecosystem may continue for some more time. The advocacy may continue.